The arrogant armada. The grand chamber of the Galactic Alliance hummed with activity as representatives from 100 star systems gathered for the quarterly council meeting. Towering holograms displayed star charts, military movements, and economic forecasts, while diplomats and military officials exchanged pleasantries beneath the crystal dome that mirrored the cosmos above. Admiral Vexazorn of the Talgary Dominion, his scaled skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that marked his high rank, watched the proceedings with barely concealed disdain. These meetings were political theater, nothing more than opportunities for lesser species to pretend they had a voice in galactic affairs. And now, announced Chief Counselor Thela, her forearms gesturing gracefully, we addressed the situation in Sector 9 to 473, known in ancient records as the Sol System. A ripple of amusement passed through the chamber. Sol System, Earth, was little more than a historical footnote in the grand tapestry of galactic civilization. Our long-range scans indicate unusual energy fluctuations from the third planet, continued Thela. After centuries of silence, something has changed. Ambassador Krelop, an ancient Vendari whose crystalline body contained memories stretching back millennia, raised a glowing appendage. We should proceed with caution. The historical archives contain warnings about the humans of Earth. The chamber erupted in laughter. Warnings, scoffed General Urax, his massive armored frame shaking with mirth. About a species that never expanded beyond their own moon. That vanished from galactic affairs before most of us evolved beyond primitive tribal structures. Admiral Zorn stepped forward, seeing an opportunity. His career had stalled recently. A prominent victory was exactly what he needed. I volunteer my battle group to investigate this situation, he announced. If humans still exist, they will kneel before the Alliance. If not, we will claim their world for productive use. Chief Counselor Thela nodded. Very well, Admiral. Your initiative is noted and approved. As the meeting adjourned, Ambassador Krelop approached Zorn privately. Admiral, I urge restraint. The archives speak of humans possessing unconventional thinking, dangerous adaptability. Zorn's bioluminescent patterns flashed with arrogance. Your concern is noted, Ambassador. But I command the most advanced fleet in 3 sectors. Whatever awaits us at Earth, we are prepared. The elderly ambassador's crystalline form dimmed slightly. The humans had a saying, Admiral, pride comes before a fall. 3 weeks later, the Alliance battle group emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol System. 12 warships strong, led by Zorn's flagship Invincible Dominion, they represented the pinnacle of galactic military technology. Scans of the system, Lieutenant Mira ordered Zorn from his command throne. Lieutenant Mira, a slender Ashanti with silver skin and calculating eyes, manipulated the sensor controls. 8 planets as expected, Admiral. The 3rd planet shows signs of previous civilization, but minimal technological activity. No orbital defenses, no transmission signals, no space-based infrastructure. Zorn smiled. As expected, take us in. As the fleet approached Earth, the sensors began recording anomalies. Admiral, called Lieutenant Mira. I'm detecting unusual energy patterns beneath the planet's ocean. Sector 37B, what the natives call the Atlantic. Composition. Unknown, sir. It's as if our sensors can't properly analyze it. The energy signature keeps shifting. Zorn frowned. Launch reconnaissance drones. Full spectrum analysis. The drones descended through Earth's atmosphere, skimming over the vast blue oceans. The planet showed signs of recovery from what appeared to be ancient warfare. Crumbling cities reclaimed by nature, radiation-free now, but bearing the unmistakable scars of nuclear exchange. Sir, Lieutenant Mira's voice carried an unfamiliar edge. Fear. The energy signature is responding to our drones. It's awakening. The ocean before them began to churn and boil. Massive air bubbles erupted from the depths as something enormous displaced the water around it. "Weapons online," barked Zorn. "All ships, battle formation Alpha." From the depths of Earth's ocean rose a monstrosity of metal and energy, unlike anything in the Alliance database. A massive warship, easily twice the size of Zorn's flagship, black as the void between stars with angular lines that defied conventional design philosophy. No exposed bridge, no visible propulsion system, just smooth armor plating inscribed with faded insignias, and one phrase in ancient human script: "Silent Guardian." "Impossible," whispered Zorn. "No species builds warships that large. The structural integrity—" "Sir, it's broadcasting," interrupted the communications officer. A voice, artificial yet somehow deeply human, echoed through every ship in the fleet. "Perimeter breach detected. Earth defense protocol activated. Silent Guardian online. Unauthorized. Vessels YLB neutralized." Zorn recovered his composure. "This is Admiral Vex Zorn of the Galactic Alliance. Your planet is under our protection now. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." Silence followed for several seconds before the response came. "Claim regcted. ALINC not oricionized. FINL warning. White TTDRA or face elimination." Zorn's patience ended. Target that relic and fire at will. The Alliance ships unleashed their arsenal: plasma beams, graviton torpedoes, and quantum disruptors. Enough firepower to level a continent. The weapons converged on the Guardian and disappeared into what appeared to be absolute darkness surrounding the vessel. "What happened?" demanded Zorn. Before anyone could respond, the Guardian moved, not with the ponderous momentum expected of a vessel its size, but with impossible grace. It rotated its massive frame and extended what appeared to be a single cannon from its bow. "Evasive maneuvers," Zorn shouted, but it was too late. A beam of pure white energy lanced from the Guardian, striking one of Zorn's escort vessels. The ship didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, leaving not even debris behind. Panic spread through the fleet as the Guardian's weapon systems fully deployed. Rail guns longer than entire Alliance ships extended from its flanks. Missile silos opened along its spine, and most terrifying of all, a field of absolute darkness began expanding outward from its hull. "What is that field?" demanded Zorn as another of his ships vanished upon contact with the darkness. Lieutenant Mira's voice shook as she answered, "It appears to be. It's consuming matter at the quantum level, sir. It's not a weapon we understand." The Guardian's voice broadcast again. "Host Tiala, TY, so and FI Armidu. Initiating fuel defense protocols." What followed was not a battle but a slaughter. The Guardian moved through Zorn's fleet with calculated precision, its weapons systems demonstrating capability centuries beyond Alliance technology. Ships vanished one by one into that terrible darkness. Others were crippled by targeted strikes that disabled engines and weapons while leaving life support intact. Within minutes, only the invincible Dominion remained operational, and even it had suffered critical damage. "Retreat," ordered Zorn, his pride shattered. "Maximum hyperspace jump, now." As his crippled flagship limped away from Earth, Zorn watched the Guardian return to its position above the Atlantic Ocean. It hovered there, sentinel-like, before slowly descending back into the depths from which it had emerged. Lieutenant Mira approached cautiously. "Admiral, we've analyzed what little data we could gather. That vessel, it appears to be over 300 years old." Zorn stared at the view screen, watching Earth recede as they fled. How is that possible? No civilization builds warships to last centuries. "That's not all, sir," continued Mira. "The energy readings, they're similar to theoretical models of human technology from before their disappearance. The historical archives mentioned experimental quantum applications, but nothing like what we witnessed. Are you saying that was a human warship, built before they vanished? Yes, sir. And there's one more thing. Mira hesitated. Internal scans detected a single life sign aboard. Human. Zorn's luminescent patterns darkened with shock. One human operated that entire vessel. It appears so, Admiral. And based on the ease with which they defeated us. They were toying with us, finished Zorn, the realization dawning with terrible clarity. This wasn't a battle. It was a warning. As the invincible Dominion limped back toward Alliance space, Zorn knew the galaxy was about to change forever. The humans hadn't vanished. They had been waiting. And the Guardian was just the beginning. The human connection. The medical bay of the Alliance station Concordia hummed with activity as physicians from a dozen species treated the survivors of Admiral Zorn's failed expedition. Zorn himself stood before a holographic display, his once pristine uniform now torn and his scaled skin missing several luminescent patches. 14 ships destroyed or disabled. Over 2,000 casualties. High Commander Valerian's voice was cold as she reviewed the report. By a single Earth vessel. Not just any vessel, corrected Zorn. A weapon beyond our comprehension. Something the humans built centuries ago and left behind. Valerian's compound eyes narrowed. The Alliance Council is reconvening in emergency session. This defeat cannot stand. We are assembling a fleet 10 times the size of your battle group. That would be a mistake, warned Zorn. Your opinion is noted. Admiral, but you've demonstrated questionable judgment already. You will remain here while we prepare the response fleet. After Valerian departed, Zorn retreated to his temporary quarters. The defeat haunted him, not just the loss of his ships, but the casual manner in which they had been destroyed, as if the Guardian had swatted away insects rather than state-of-the-art warships. His door chimed, and Ambassador Krelop's crystalline form entered, glowing softly in the dim light. I warned you, Admiral, said the ancient diplomat without preamble. You mentioned caution, not suicide, retorted Zorn bitterly. I've accessed the sealed archives, continued Krelop. Information restricted to only the oldest members of the Council. What you encountered was indeed a human vessel, the last Defender-class quantum dreadnought, one of 3 built before the Great Silence. Before the humans disappeared. They didn't disappear, Admiral. The Ambassador's crystalline structure pulsed with emphasis. They left. Krelop projected a hologram from his crystalline body, ancient footage showing massive colony ships departing the Sol system. 300 years ago, Earth faced environmental collapse. Rather than fight for their dying world, the majority of humanity embarked on generational ships bound for galaxies beyond our reach. But they left behind Guardians, automated vessels with volunteer crews in stasis, programmed to protect their homeworld until they might someday return. Zorn watched the footage with growing comprehension. The single life sign we detected. A human commander, yes, likely awakened from stasis by your arrival. Meanwhile, aboard the Silent Guardian, Captain Elena Reyes studied the retreating Alliance ships on her command console. After 3 centuries in cryostasis, her body felt strangely light, her mind razor-sharp from the neural interfaces connecting her consciousness directly to the Guardian systems. Damage report, she requested, her voice echoing in the vast, empty bridge. Minimal energy expenditure. All SOYSTM's optimal, responded the Guardian's eye. QUERI. Pursue and eliminate remaining hostile forces. Elena shook her head. Negative. They've received our message. Now we wait. She walked through the empty corridors of the massive warship, designed to be crewed by hundreds but now operated by her alone through the neural link. The Guardian was humanity's masterpiece, incorporating technologies that had been purely theoretical when the Exodus began. Quantum void weaponry, matter phase shields, consciousness-integrated computing. Elena reached the observation deck and gazed at the blue planet below. Earth, healing slowly after the devastation that had driven humanity to the stars. Forests reclaimed concrete jungles. Oceans ran clear again. Nature had been given time to recover, while humanity sought new homes among distant stars. ALERT, announced the Guardian. Multiple hyperspace SDTKTE. Arrival. 47 HOURs. How many? Asked Alina. 120 CVN vessels. Telesification. Warships. Alina smiled grimly. They didn't learn their lesson. Prepare full defensive grid, but maintain quantum shroud. Let them think we're still underwater. Back on Concordia, Zorn found himself unexpectedly summoned to the fleet preparation briefing. High Commander Valerian stood before a tactical display showing the assembled armada, the largest military force the Alliance had deployed in generations. Admiral Zorn, she acknowledged coldly. You're here to provide tactical insights on the enemy vessel. I already provided my report, replied Zorn, and my recommendation to attempt diplomatic contact rather than military engagement. Your recommendation has been considered and rejected, stated Valerian. The Alliance cannot allow an unknown power to possess such destructive capability. The Earth vessel will be neutralized, and its technology salvaged. Zorn's luminescent patterns flashed with alarm. Commander, you're making a catastrophic error. That single vessel disabled my entire battle group in minutes. Even with this fleet, your lack of confidence is noted, Admiral, interrupted Valerian. Perhaps it explains your failure. Ambassador Krelop stepped forward. High Commander, the historical archives suggest the humans possess technologies based on principles our science has yet to master. This armada may not be sufficient. Speculation and superstition, dismissed Valerian. One ancient vessel, regardless of its capabilities, cannot stand against the combined might of the Alliance. 2 days later, the massive Alliance fleet emerged from hyperspace in the Sol system. This time, they took no chances, deploying immediately in combat formation with weapons charge. The Earth vessel remains submerged, reported the sensor officer. No indication it has detected our arrival. High Commander Valerian smiled thinly. Deploy depth charges. Force it to surface where our combined firepower can target it efficiently. Specialized ships moved into position over the Atlantic Ocean, deploying quantum resonators designed to disrupt any technology hidden beneath the waves. On the Guardian's bridge, Alina monitored the Alliance fleet's movements with calm detachment. They're persistent, I'll give them that. Tactical analysis complete, reported the Guardian's eye. Enemy fleet possesses sufficient numbers to potentially overwhelm defensive YSDMs through attrition. Then we don't let them dictate the terms of engagement, replied Alina. Execute Protocol Phantom. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, the Guardian's physical form began to shimmer and dissolve as its quantum void technology activated. Rather than rising to meet the Alliance fleet, it simply phased through the planetary matter itself, reappearing instantaneously in high orbit behind the enemy armada. What just happened? Demanded Valerian as alarms blared across the command ship. Where did it go? It's behind us, came the panicked response. It teleported. Before the Alliance fleet could reorient, the Guardian deployed its primary weapon system, not the destructive beam from the previous encounter, but something far more sophisticated. A pulse of golden energy expanded outward, washing over the Alliance ships. One by one, the massive warships went dark, their systems completely neutralized by the advanced EMP technology that targeted specific energy frequencies. Alina opened a communication channel to the paralyzed fleet. This is Captain Alina Reyes of the Earth defense vessel Silent Guardian. Your ships have been temporarily disabled, not destroyed. This is your final warning. Earth is under my protection. Any further hostile action will result in your complete destruction. In the disabled command ship, Valerian stared at the viewscreen in shock as the Guardian hovered before them. a black monolith against the stars, untouchable and overwhelming. "How?" she whispered. "How can one ship possess such power?" Admiral Zorn stepped forward, because they built it not for conquest, but for survival. He opened a communication channel of his own. "Captain Rice, this is Admiral Vex Zorn. I request permission to board your vessel as an envoy of peace." Hours later, Zorn stood on the Guardian's observation deck beside Alina, gazing at the stars. The Alliance fleet remained in orbit, systems slowly coming back online, but weapons firmly deactivated. "So humanity didn't destroy itself as our histories claim," mused Zorn. "They simply left." Alina nodded. Earth was dying. Rather than fight over the remaining resources, our ancestors chose a different path. Some went to the stars in search of new homes. Others, like my crew, volunteered to stay behind in stasis, guarding Earth while it healed. "And the others? Your crew?" A shadow passed over Alina's face. "There was a malfunction in the cryostasis chamber century ago. I'm the only one who survived." Zorn's luminescent patterns shifted to a softer hue, a gesture of sympathy. "So you've been alone, defending a healing world for centuries." "Not anymore," replied Alina with unexpected warmth. "According to the Guardian's deep space communications array, the first colony ships have established contact. Humanity has found new worlds, built new civilizations, and now they're coming home." Zorn absorbed this information with growing understanding. The Alliance Council needs to know this. If humans have successfully colonized beyond our known space, then the galaxy is about to become a much more interesting place. Finished Alina. "The Guardian detected their approach months ago. That's why it awakened me from stasis. Not because of your arrival, but because humanity is returning to reclaim Earth, healed, renewed, and ready to take its place among the stars again." As if in response to her words, the Guardian's sensors detected new signatures emerging from the outer edges of the Sol system. Vessels of unmistakably human design, but far more advanced than the Guardian itself. Alina smiled at Zorn, extending her hand in the ancient human gesture of friendship. "Admiral, it seems you have a choice to make. You can return to your alliance and prepare for war against an enemy you cannot defeat, or you can be the one who welcomes humanity back to the galactic community and forges a new era of cooperation." Zorn looked at the human hand extended toward him, then at the returning fleet of humanity's children come home at last. With a gesture that would change the course of galactic history, he extended his own scaled hand and clasped Alina's firmly. "I choose peace, Captain Reyes. Welcome back to the stars."